Hi everyone and welcome to the Adobe Creative Cloud YouTube channel. We're very happy to have you. Feel free to ask questions in the chat. I'm Michael, I'm live from Paris. And we have Talin from the Adobe XD team, live from San Francisco. Hey Talin, how are you?
Good, how are you, Michael?
Very good, thank you. Maybe you want to explain your role in the team?
Yeah. So hi guys, I'm Talin Wadsworth. I'm the lead designer for Adobe XD. And yeah, so I'm here to answer any questions you have. We're going to be talking about the latest updates in September, and like I said, like any other questions you have, you get that insider knowledge this morning. So let us know.
So yeah, so let us know in the chat where you're from. I see Rufus already. I see Danny, Zoro. So it's really an opportunity to ask questions to the Adobe XD team. This is why we're doing this interactive live streams now on YouTube. And if you like this kind of interaction, remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel and like the video. Hey.
Yeah.
We have Migoi, Yonka, Abi, Abdul Kader. And we have a first question. Talin.
Yeah. Let's get it going. Yes.
Ya se podrá usar en Windows? So I think I can translate. I think that Ronald wants to use it on Windows.
Yes. So not yet, but I do have the build on my Surface Pro, and let's make a goal, and I will bring it with me next time we stream.
Next stream, guys.
Next stream, I will show you Windows on a Surface Pro.
Whoa. So it's very, very close. Actually, if you check on the web, we published an article, I think 2 weeks ago.
We did,
to say that we are opening a beta program for the Windows version. So I will find for you the link and I will put it in the chat. Okay. And Talin, so we just released the version. I think it was last week.
Yes, last week.
Preview, the September release.
Preview 7, I think. The big one, guys, has been that we have released our first iOS and Android apps for Adobe XD. So this brings real-time preview of your prototypes right on your devices. So iPhones, iPads, Nexus, Galaxies, all the Android devices, you can now download and test your interactive prototypes directly on your device, which is a huge deal. I was so excited. I feel like it's taken us a while to get there, but finally we're there, and I'm very excited. So, because that was a whole goal, I think, initially, and actually, this whole project really started with sharing prototypes and knowing, trying to how are we going to do that? Here as designers at Adobe, we need to be able to, share our prototypes and our designs, in these meetings, and we constantly were kind of having to hand wave. But the minute I could put the real device in the hands of, a user, or I could put it in the hands of my director or any of our executive teams, like that really told the story, and that really gave me the tools I needed to communicate. And so we're here. We're finally getting that point and finally realizing, I think, that vision that we knew we were always shooting for. So.
Yeah, and we have already questions in the chat, like what is XD? What is it for? So, as you said, design screens, create interactive prototypes to share an experience with another user, with other designers, and be as fast as possible to create this experience. Because this is really something that you will notice with Adobe XD. It's super fast. So I really love the performance. Maybe you want to share your screen, Talin, if you're ready.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's share.
Our audience can experience what is Adobe XD. Actually, it stands for
Adobe Experience Design. Yes, let's get the full title. Adobe Experience Design Preview. So here we are. So we're an app for, and it says it right here as you open it up: design, prototyping, and sharing. And so, as design, the challenges that we've been facing as designers have really grown, and we need to design for more and more sizes of screens and different screens and interactivity. We need a tool to really keep up with us, to be able to communicate. And of course, again, I really believe that prototyping has really been the thing we've all been shooting for, because to solve those problems of an interactive experience, you really need to be solving kind of physical problems. And so you need to be basically testing those prototypes as early as possible when you're designing new products for either the iPhone or the Android or for Windows. And so we really wanted to build a tool that was focused on that, was focused on building those interactive prototypes. So you could have all the great design tools kind of at your fingertips, to make beautiful, app designs like this. Like here we have a little app. Little San Francisco is a big coffee scene, so here we have a coffee app that we've been designing, and I need to be able to take this and start making it interactive, and of course being able to test it and share that prototype with other people online, so I can basically build my interactive prototype here in Adobe XD and send a link to anyone online. But more importantly, I need to be able to see that and test that design on my device. And again, that was kind of the big news in the release this month is kind of adding that companion piece. So here I have Adobe XD on my iPhone. We'll go all the way to the home screen because it just kind of gives me, it's very exciting to sort of see it there on my home screen, and then be able to launch it and immediately see my designs right on my phone. So here we see my designs inside of Adobe XD. And of course, we have great vector drawing here. But again, like the real goal is to see it here. And this is fast. This connection is fast, as you see if I sort of start moving. Yeah, if I start moving anything on screen.
And we have questions like people asking, yeah, but what about layers, guides? So what you need to understand is that every month, the Adobe XD team adds new features. We listen to the community on UserVoice. So it's adobexd.uservoice.com. I will put the link in the chat. But basically, you ask for features, and Talin's team listen to you and add more features. But we have Talin with us today. So maybe he will sneak one or two things. That's the beauty of these live streams. So I have questions about layers, guides, and more complex interactions. It's a good question by Yaogu. So maybe you will share with us what's coming.
I think maybe we're gonna sneak something on the interactive prototype side right now. Actually.
This would be a first.
Yes. So we have been working on adding more complex motion interaction, and we're not ready to share all of our plans on that front. In fact, we're still doing a lot of research and testing of prototypes that we've been building both in XD and in code to sort of really make some of those features sing. But this morning, I want to share, as part of the prototyping workflow, the way to add overlays to your designs. And so this will be coming. This is not quite ready yet, but we're kind of working on this one. So as you're designing here, because here we have design mode in Adobe XD, and this is where I have all my great vector drawing tools, and I can do all my layout. And then when I move over to prototype mode, that means anything that I now select can be made interactive. So you can see this little handle shows up. So what I'm going to do actually is I have these other artboards down here that I've created, and these are going to give me some details of the drink that I've selected in my coffee app. So here I'm going to make my little coffee cup interactive. So I'm just going to drag this handle out, and I'm going to drop it onto my overlaid artboard. So here, before, what we've had in the past has been just some basic transitions. We have no transition or dissolves or those basic kind of slide in and out animations. But what we've added is actually overlays. So what I can do...
Okay, so overlay, just to make sure that it's clear for everyone.
Yeah.
You are sneaking something that's coming in the future release.
Yep.
So if you install Adobe XD today on Mac, you won't see it. So this is the first time I think we're sharing this live. So it behaves as a transition. It's interesting.
Yep, it does. So I'm going to choose, as my transition, overlay slide up. And now when I go to my preview window, so up here in the top right, I've launched my preview window, which gives me that interactive window here on my desktop. And now I go and I hover over the coffee cup. When I click on it, my little display, my little overlay detail display of what really is a latte pops up here. All right. So then I can now, I didn't have to do anything else, and I can just click anywhere and the overlay disappears.
I see.
And so what this does is we see this in a lot of different apps, both on the iPhone and Android, where you have a control and you need to be able to call over, like a menu, or you need to be able to display kind of a send dialogue, that sort of confirmation dialogue or a warning dialogue. This overlays kind of can function as just handling some of those basic sort of interactions on the platforms. Or you can dream up more really interesting overlays like this one that we have here in our app. And then actually now let's go over here and test it on our phone. And see,
I try to increase the size of your window so our friends can see what's happening on your phone in real time. Okay, now they can see it better.
All right. So what I'm going to do, I didn't have to do anything else. I didn't have to reload. I just have I have my phone plugged into my laptop via USB cable. And what this does is make sure that my prototype on my phone is as fast as possible. That was really kind of our goal. We wanted to be able to see the changes in real time and be able to have this slick, fluid motion. Let's see if it did it. Oh, I think I just ran into. So I'm gonna just put that aside.
Keep it simple. Keep it simple, Talin.
Yes. I was getting a little too ambitious, guys. It looks like the iPhone app is not quite ready for overlays. Oh, actually, no. I was tapping the wrong thing. Let me see. Oh, I was. It's not ready. Okay. Yeah. All right. Here I am jumping ahead, but here
maybe you can show like as you are talking about the live preview on the phone.
Yep.
So this is a new app, free app, Adobe XD, available on the App Store and on the Google Play. So for iPhone and Android users. And the idea is that you can really design in real time. So if you change maybe you can show like changing the position on an item or a color.
Yes.
You will see it in real time on your screen.
Yeah, let's do this again. I'm going to say when I tap on the phone, I want to be able to slide over to the next drink. So I'm going to choose here. I'm going to choose slide right. And now let me test this. Yep, there we go. I'm going to try that again. Okay, so I'm going to try slide left. Okay, so now here I am on my phone, and I'm just going to tap. I'm just basically going to tap anywhere, and there's a transition right there. So if I launch the preview window, I can see the transition right here on the preview window. But if I go back here and see it again, the same exact motion and interactivity on my device.
It works.
Yes, and I didn't have to do any updating. I didn't have to
can you show like when, like let's say you select the coffee cup in the design mode and you change the position, because it's really refreshes the UI in real time. It's amazing.
This is going to be kind of recursive. So I'm going to see my coffee cup move everywhere. All right, the preview window on the canvas and on my app in real time. So you see there's really no lag between the updates that I'm doing here.
Actually, you know what's interesting? Is that we're using the Zoom, conference system.
Yeah.
So we see it moving on the phone, but not on the screen because the web conferencing tool doesn't refresh. So it's magical.
Just imagine it's happening for me in real time. I'm so sorry that we're not.
Espresso isn't a real thing. So I guess he means espresso. Thank you, Scott.
This is true. This is true. Let's see.
Very nice feedback.
Yes, let's actually go catch that. Espresso. Very good.
So we have Glue asking, so saying first, the companion viewer app is awesome, but will it support Wi-Fi in the future? Because today you have to plug with USB cable.
Yes, we are gonna support kind of untethered previewing of your mobile prototypes, and we'll have more to share on that soon. But initially, we wanted to really focus on performance, and as you can tell, kind of in the app, and it's hard over video conferencing, I know. But if you download Adobe XD, the free preview, you can open it up and just kind of see how important performance has been. We built a native Mac desktop app, and we're building a native UWP, Windows 10 app. And our goal really from the start has been performance. We wanted to be as fast as possible because we just know how those little hangups kind of, they're fine kind of every once in a while, but over your day, working as designers do kind of in these apps all day long, those little tiny, waiting for something to render, they really just start to add up. And now you feel like you're sitting there constantly waiting for your app to render or to load or to just be basic operations. And so with the phone, with the initial apps on the devices, we really wanted to focus on performance, and we really felt like we got the best performance that we could get through the USB cable. But we will be bringing the functionality in a later update where I can unplug my phone, take my device to the meeting, just step in there and hand it over to everyone in the meeting and let them take my prototype for a spin. And that's sort of, in our future plans for the apps. So
we have some users in the chat trying to install Adobe XD on their phone, and apparently it's not compatible with all iPhones. So I guess there is some minimal requirements, because this is
yeah.
So sorry for this. You need to check what are the requirements. I guess that on some maybe it's also due to your iOS version. I wouldn't be surprised.
It might be. It might be. Yeah.
Yeah.
We want to make sure that we're giving kind of the best experience possible, and so we're ideally developing for kind of all the platforms, but again, we want to make sure that we're giving users the best experience on their devices. I'm going to switch over here for a sec back to our really regularly scheduled program. So give me 1 second, we'll go back to sharing.
Good. And also you wanted to sneak the layers.
Yeah, let's talk about layers again. Yeah, it's definitely been my habit here on the stream with Michael to give updates on layers.
It's the place to be.
Yeah. One time I should
confidential stuff. Just join our stream.
Just happens. Yeah,
and then we will delete the stream right after.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna show off a couple other things too that are really nice. Again, like I think designers again who live kind of day in and day out in these apps, there's just some nice improvements. And again, we're constantly sort of updating the app. And we're getting your feedback on UserVoice. We're getting your feedback on Twitter. We're getting your feedback kind of on these streams. And so we really want to to make sure that we're being responsive and adding those features that designers. All right, we're almost ready here. So I haven't tested the Android because I don't know where my testing device has gone. Have you checked it out, Michael? The Android app?
The Android app, yeah, I tried on the Samsung phone, and you have the same experience. It's really as good as iOS. And I mean, what is awesome? I mean, once we will get the tethering on Wi-Fi, I guess you will be able to have like multiple screens in front of you.
Yeah,
like maybe 5 different devices. And
if you have the USB cables and the ports available, you could plug in any number of your devices currently. Yeah, and just have them all.
If you have like 5 ports, you can have 5 devices.
Yeah, go for it. In fact, I've got my iPad here next to me. I could have that plugged in and testing as well. But it's been really exciting, I think, and a big challenge for us of just talk about kind of how we've been doing it is to designing and developing these apps kind of cross-platform. And again, that's kind of a big undertaking, but it's been a really great experience for us.
So we have a great question by Yonka, and thanks for asking questions in the chat. This is really the goal of these interactive streams. I guess Yonka is using Adobe XD to prototype websites. And I mean, why not? It's a screen experience.
Yeah.
Completely makes sense.
Yep.
But then he would like to emulate like a one-pager page where in HTML it would be like jump to anchor, like scroll to a specific point.
Yeah.
And not jump to another screen. So
definitely on our list. Definitely things that I think we've seen on UserVoice. And if you do us a favor, you go up, give that a vote on UserVoice, and we can.
It's already on UserVoice.
I believe so
we'll put the link in the chat for you. What's your name, my friend? Yonka.
Yeah.
So it's on Adobe XD.uservoice.com. So this is the place where you will see all the feature requests. So you can submit a new one, but there are like good chances that someone already submitted the feature that you want. So you can vote for the feature that you want. And the Adobe XD team, like every morning, they check the website, they give feedback. And also on this website, you can easily anticipate what's coming in XD. Because usually it's very transparent, so the team tells you we're working on it. So
Yep. We definitely, and that's really been one of our goals from the start, to be really open in kind of our roadmap, and really making sure that the designers are helping us, like really kind of chart that course. Of course, also we have all the really cool things that we have in mind as well, but we really want to know kind of what helps designers get their work done on a daily basis. And a lot of those features, again, we've been giving a lot of thought to. But I want to highlight a couple that we think are kind of really key for designers kind of in this latest update. One is being able to lock the aspect ratio in the properties panel. So as you can see up here, one of the problems we kind of had before is that you had to, if you wanted to sort of scale something proportionately, you didn't really have those controls that you would find inside of something like Photoshop and Illustrator. And that was just something that we had to get to over time, but we just added really exciting, just small updates that get me really excited, which is lock aspect ratio. So now up here in the properties panel, when you have an item selected, you have this little lock, and now I can lock the aspect ratio of width and height. So now when I go and I adjust, say, one of these properties, everything scales proportionately, right? I sort of lock the width and height ratio, so now the height will grow proportionately to the width change. And that's really handy. I can just kind of,
So including text,
yeah,
all the usual elements, which can be annoying when you try to resize something.
Yeah, so let's see if we want to sort of scale all of this up. We just grab that, we'll just group that, we'll turn on the lock, and there we go. And now everything scales proportionally together. Yes, it's a really handy feature that we just added. And one of my other favorite ones we added is the ability to zoom to selection. So everybody kind of knows the command on Mac, command 0, command 1. These are ones that you'll find kind of across our Adobe apps. So command 1 zooms you into 100%. Command 0 zooms you all the way out to see everything. And now we've added a shortcut, which is command 3, and that will zoom the app right into my selection. You can see I can kind of move around my design by just zooming out, and then I'm going to hit command 3, and it zooms right into my selection. Really handy for navigating really large files. And so that's up here in the view drop-down menu on the Mac, zoom to selection.
Yeah.
And 3. Again, that's a really handy. Again, there's just like those little quality of life features that we're always kind of keeping an eye on and making sure they don't fall off the radar in favor of the really big topics. These are just things that I think that maybe you take for granted as a designer sometimes, and we really wanted to make sure that we don't let those fall off the radar.
Okay, so that's nice. So we have some questions by John.
Yeah.
About the ability to, what can you export? He's, for instance, talking about exporting the design as PSD files, for developers who will need at some point to create a real app from the prototype. So what do we have for the moment?
So currently, we have some great export options for exporting assets for iOS, Android, and web. And so if you can go up here to File, Export, and here in the window dialog, I can choose kind of my destination, like what am I exporting for? So maybe I could hand off a PSD to a developer, or maybe I could actually, from my design, just actually output the assets for them. And so if I don't have anything selected on my canvas currently, so if I'm going to export something, this is going to export all of my artboards kind of at these sizes and as these formats. So if I choose web here, it'll tell me that I've selected the selected assets will export at 1x and 2x. So what it'll do is actually just kind of like sort of batch export the selected assets like at those sizes that I need for web development, or the same for iOS. iOS would be, I can of course choose my format. We have PNG, SVG, and PDF right now. And then of course it'll sort of package it up and export all my assets at 1x, 2x, and 3x. Again, sizes that my developer would need when developing my iOS application. Let's hop back over to the Coffee app and actually do that. Yep. So let's select.
And maybe what you could do is stop sharing and share again the screen, because we're experiencing some lag. I'm not sure why.
Yeah, no problem. Let's try it again.
Yeah, it's way behind.
Oh, is it?
That's second thinking. Yeah, I'm not sure why, but now we are sharing again, so we should be back on track.
Okay.
So yeah, so you can export like design assets to a PNG, SVG.
So let's do that. Let's actually select a bunch of my coffee cups here. So I'm just going to select. So I've multi-selected. I have 3 of them selected. And now I'm going to go up here to export. And let's say this is, of course, I'm designing an iOS app. So I'm going to choose iOS. And my developer has asked me to supply him with PNGs. So here on my desktop, I'm just going to add a new folder. And I'm going to call this Barista iOS Assets. All right. So now I've created that. I've selected iOS. I've designed all my designs at 1x. Again, I've designed with vector, with all my vector shapes, so everything's going to scale accurately. So now I'm going to hit export. All right, that was fast. Let's go back. Let's go to the desktop here. Going to the Barista iOS assets, and there they are. So now I have all my coffee cups here at all the sizes I need. I have 1x, 2x, and 3x of each of my assets. So now I can just basically package this up, send this over to my developer. Of course, I need some redline specs probably, which we'll talk about in maybe a future update. But yeah, here it is. Like I'm ready for production, and I think that's been really exciting, is to be able to give kind of that full end-to-end workflow kind of in the app, and just continually adding to that feature set.
Yeah, and this is very similar to the experience we have in Illustrator now. And I mean, the new way to export assets. It's very consistent. I like it.
Yep.
And that's a bit of a question. There is another question about, do you know when it will stop being a preview? So this is not something we have shared. It's a good point, Manuel, because we start. When did we release the first preview? It was back in March.
March we did. Yeah, we released it in March. Yeah. So you know what? 1.0 is really when the community tells us it's ready. When a designer says, that I can do my full workflow inside of Adobe XD, and I really feel like Adobe's giving me the tools that are going to help me face kind of the challenges sort of now and in the future. I think that's really what we're waiting for. Again, that's the reason why we released it as a preview, is because we wanted to see, like, is this ready? And we wanted to get the feedback from the community. And so I think, again, we have kind of things that we want to make sure that we hit, ourselves as a team. We have a lot of priorities, but we want to make sure that we're solving problems for designers. And I think when designers tell us that, like, they're using this for their daily work and they're doing these amazing designs and these new apps, I think that's when we know that we're ready. And so,
so you let us know.
Yeah, you let us know.
You, the creative community, is it ready? So we just got a bunch of incredibly good questions. I would love these questions.
Okay.
So I will ask all the questions. Okay. And
Just
then you choose to reply. The first one by Mattis. Will there be a layer section like in Photoshop? Don't
Yes.
It's
yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Because when we ask Talin, usually he can sneak stuff, so you will see it. Then another question, and it is directly for you, Talin. How many user experience designers, beside yourself, are working on Adobe XD?
So right now there are 5 of us working on Adobe XD.
Okay.
But we've grown from a team of just 4 people when we started 2 years ago, and now we're quite a bit larger. So
always,
5.
Yeah.
I still feel like we're due for another one. Actually, we do have a position open on this. I just wanted to sort of put this out there. Shameless self-promotion. We are looking for an amazing senior designer to grow our team here in San Francisco. So if you're interested, I think it's on my Twitter, but I'll repost it. But we are looking for.
And your Twitter is Mr. Talin.
Mr. Talin. Yep.
Okay, so in terms of competition, so other question by Johnny. Do you think you will support plugins in the future? Yes,
I gotta say, like, one of the things that I feel like we've all been just itching to get to is extensibility and plugin support. Again, like, we really feel that's really, we want this app to grow with the community, and one of the best ways to do that, and Adobe has a really great history of doing that, which is supporting plugins. Supporting like the crazy ideas or just the useful ideas that other designers or developers have to extend and to grow Adobe XD and the capabilities and features, because our team has grown, but we know that we're leaving a lot of great ideas out there on the table. So extensibility is definitely on our roadmap. We don't have any real hard plans to share right now, but I definitely think in the kind of towards the end of the year and coming to the new year, we'll have some more to share on that.
Okay, great. So also we have a question of someone asking, can I use Adobe XD to design web pages?
No, yeah, definitely. Actually, that was one of the updates that I haven't shared yet, which is we have scrolling that we've had for a while. We've had kind of basic scrolling at the artboard level. So you see, we just launched an update to this. So if I zoom in here on this web page that I've designed in Adobe XD, I have, you see this kind of blue line right here, sort of dotted line, sort of stretching across my canvas.
So we don't see it yet, but it's coming.
Oh, okay, it's coming. We're a
We have
little
this
behind.
huge delay today. Okay,
Might be
we
the
see the
weather
blue
in
line.
San Francisco. All right, there's the little blue line. So then when I launch my preview window, now I have this scrollable page. All right, and I can scroll, just as I would a web page. And I think someone on the stream earlier mentioned some being able to jump to specific scroll points. Definitely something we're interested in, and something that I know that has been brought up on our UserVoice forum. But what we've added is now when you have your artboard selected, over here we have a new scrolling set of options here in the panel. So I can actually choose different scrolling. Currently, we only have vertical. So I can turn that off and have no scrolling on this page. Or I can add vertical scrolling and bring back my my horizontal line. And now I have the ability to actually define like where that scrollable field, like how large that where that line, that little dotted line starts. So here's where I started at 1080. So when I launch the window, you can see kind of where below the fold might be. But if I go back here and let's say I increase that to 1800, now when I launch my preview window, I'm previewing much more of that page. At this, basically defining much more of that page as kind of the above the fold area.
Like the first viewport experience.
Yeah, and so this is brand new in the app. So same thing on the mobile. I can come over here and define my scrollable area as 678. And now when I go and launch that preview window, I basically can control where that scroll line sits. And that's brand new. That's really giving, again, we had a very kind of basic implementation of that to start with. Covered kind of some of the basics, but here we're going to keep just adding more functionality. And that's something we just released in the latest update.
Nice.
Pardon me. Yep.
So we have a question by Fabrizio asking, what about Creative Cloud libraries?
Yes. Coming. We're working on it. We have some really great prototypes we're testing with designers right now. And
okay. So what you're saying is that this won't be the, let's say, generation of Creative Cloud libraries we are used to or we are using today in Photoshop or Illustrator. You try to extend the concept?
We're definitely trying to, I think, figure out what it means for experienced designers. Like, how do they want to use Creative Cloud libraries to get their work done? I think that's really what we've been trying to find out, is that right now, we have libraries, and I really love the workflow, say from the capture apps on my devices to the desktop, or to be able to sort of share assets across documents. And what we've tried to do, because this is a brand new app, is really figure out like, how do we make that a better experience for UX designers, UI designers, and what does that mean, and what kind of things do they want to do? And so that's really what we've been doing, and we have some really crazy ideas on that, and maybe sharing a little bit of that soon. But again, still in the testing phase, still in the validation phase. Again, we do a lot of testing early on, both design prototypes and working prototypes in code, to really make sure these features really feel like they're part of a bigger story. Again, one that really helps the UX designers work faster, and kind of, as we coined it initially, kind of design at the speed of thought. That's really kind of our goal, to make sure that there's no barriers. That feels like a seamless workflow, and it helps you get your job done faster, so that you can get to that better design in the end. So,
yeah. Nice. Maybe one more question about before sneaking the layers.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. Question by Namrud asking, any plans for collaboration, which would mean multiple users on the same project?
That's actually a very intriguing concept, and I know it's gotten a lot of excitement there in the design community right now.
Okay.
Nothing to share on that right now. We're definitely interested, and I think in the ways kind of
so
we'll work.
It makes sense. This is something you see in the community. You think it makes sense? So this is something you see in the community?
I'm excited about it. Yeah. I remember it made me think about those first days of using Dropbox with the design team, and that moment when we all had access to the same files at the same time. Of course, there were a bunch of conflicts that came up, but we figured out how to make it work, and it really changed the way I think that we work together as a team and the way we organize projects. And this idea of collaboration in a design tool is something that I get really excited about. I know. So maybe we'll share some more on that soon. We're definitely interested in that topic.
Okay.
Nothing to share right now, but.
But this is something that you consider.
Yes, definitely.
Right.
And if the design community is excited about it and they're interested in it, it's definitely something we're going to consider. So.
Okay, thanks. Yeah. Okay, so maybe before ending this interactive stream, you wanted to show us the layers, the concept of layers, which is not today in the current preview.
Not today, yeah.
But definitely coming.
Things we've been working on, and I think we're finally getting to the point where I think layers is really coming together. So down here in the bottom left of my toolbar, I now have a layers panel, and I can call that up. And here I have my layers, but here actually I'm seeing my artboards. So these are my artboards that I see currently on the canvas. So if I kind of zoom out here, you see, and I think this is the one that we got really excited about, which is this idea that we kind of called local layers, which when your document gets really big, and this one isn't big yet, but of course when we are designing kind of a full application, we could end up with hundreds of artboards, right? Like when you have a list of layers, that just becomes kind of unmanageable. You spend more time, sort of sorting and managing and organizing layers. And we wanted to say, could we do that better? We did a lot of, did our homework on layers, and we talked to a lot of designers, and we kind of heard kind of how they use layers. And so we want to make sure that we had all the things that they needed, like renaming for export and just the basic kind of level of organization. And we wanted to be able to sort of display that to users, and because they needed to be able to do that. But we wanted to sort of make that better. How could we optimize that? How could we make that faster? And one of the things we did was we kind of came on with this concept we called local layers, which is when I start working on the canvas, as I click on an object on an artboard, the layers panel then changes and shows me the layers for just that artboard. Right, so it gives me a really focused workflow. And here you can see I have my coffee cup selected. And of course, we saw earlier in my export, this means that I would have to go back through and rename all these assets, right? Because I need to be able to sort of, call out to my developer and really name these specifically for development. And we didn't really have a way to do that in the past, other than renaming kind of after I've exported. But now I can go in and double click on the name and rename my layer. I mean, it's very simple, but again, the functionality and the utility to a designer is just huge. So here, of course, we also have the basics. I can lock my layer. I can hide my layer, which very nicely sort of quiets it down there. But I can also expand and see what's inside that layer. So I can click on this little folder icon, and it just expands and shows, of course, all the basic functionality that you would expect kind of in there. So now that I've named that latte, again, I'm going to go over and do the same on my mocha artboard. So I'm going to click over there, and again, you see the layers panel changes to show me just the layers on that Barista 1 artboard. I'm going to name this mocha, and do the same over here, and jump over here, Espresso. And let's make sure we name it correctly, Espresso. Rename you.
So we have a lot of people in the chat like, I'm on Windows. So they are crying like, it's coming.
It's coming. I promise, guys. I promise.
Yeah, let me share the link again. Click on this link because you can join now. I mean, how can I say that? Like register to be part of the beta program of the Windows version. So this is really coming in the coming weeks.
Yes, it is.
You will be able to join the Windows beta program, I guess.
Soon, guys, and go check out our blog posts from our director of product management. He wrote a really
I've
great
just shared it
on the update.
Andrew. It's in the chat.
And then I'm going to bring my Surface Pro with me next time we stream.
Next stream. Make sure to be with us. To be notified when we will have this next stream, the best way is just subscribe to the Creative Cloud YouTube channel. So you will receive a notification and you will see, there is a new live stream about Adobe XD. And then you will see Mr. Talin with a surface showing XD on Windows. Boom.
There you go.
This is happening.
So here I'm going to export my assets again real quick. I'm going to hit export. Of course, now I've named my layers. Let's go over here. Oh, there we go. Now I can just get rid of all these generic group names, trash those real quick. And here we go. I now have all of my assets named properly. Espresso at 2x, Espresso at 3x. And again, just giving me, we want to really just keep, again, it's about these little, like, layers is going to be amazing. And we love the local layers concept. And there's a few other surprises in there for you guys that I'm not ready to show off yet. But again, we just want to make sure that, like, XD is ready for daily work. I mean, I've been sort of designing XD in XD since about last October, when I got a real official build I could use. But we really want to make sure that it has the features and the tools that designers need to feel like they can design kind of end-to-end solutions. They can concept and prototype and do their visual design and then export for development, right within Adobe XD. And I think we're getting your feedback, and we just keep adding those features. And one of those, again, is I can just go in here and just name my assets. And that just helps me when I hand over to a developer. It saves me work, and it just helps me sort of get right back into designing. So.
Yeah, great. It's very promising because, I mean, the goal of layers is really to first be more productive, be organized. But sometimes, I mean, we are the first to admit it, that sometimes too many layers is just confusing. And I really like this new solution, local layers. And also, it makes sense. You just demonstrated that you can rename your layers and then export assets, which makes sense, and which will talk to your developers, for instance. So it really makes sense.
And there's a couple surprises waiting for you guys. Okay. But I also wanted to show off one of these little tiny things that I just think, again, it shows off our attention to detail. So you see, when you have, I had 2 ellipses here. Let me just back up. So I had 2 ellipses here, and I'm just going to create basically like a donut shape real quick, just kind of prove kind of a point. So I'm just going to make this one a little different color right now so we see what happens. So when I select these 2 ellipses, either here in the layers panel, when I go up here and let's say I want to make that donuts, this is a little minor detail, but again, it just sort of speaks to like the way in which our developers and their designers really, and our product team really pays attention to those little details to help designers. When you create let's say you use the Pathfinder feature up here and create a subtraction to make that donut. Here in the layers panel, we have a special icon for Pathfinder operations, but you can also see the name of the layer of the group here has changed, and it's subtraction. And so what this is, and I'll show the difference in a sec. If I go and I do kind of the union, kind of the add Pathfinder, it changes the name and the icon changes to show, again, what type of operation is going on here. So the name and the icon change to show union, show subtraction, or show intersection, or show exclusion. And again, this gives me a way to kind of see and test those results and keep things organized kind of within the panel. And then, of course, if I need to, I can always click on that icon and expand. And actually, again, these are non-destructive, so I can actually go in there and select the layers and actually, tweak them and exit back out and close that layer. So again, just like little tiny things, and we do kind of we're addressing and kind of adding very similar things for all the things that we do, on the canvas. So helping you again stay organized, be able to navigate your layers very quickly, and then to do all the things that you need to do, like export and naming and organizing. So.
Great. That's very promising. Thanks, Talin.
Yeah.
And we had questions in the meantime about micro animations, and so you sneaked it at the beginning of the screen. So the replay will be available on this channel, on the YouTube channel. So just rewind, and you will see Talin explaining what he's working on to add on rollover, for instance, just display something with it was a slide up animation. I mean, you will find it. And still a lot of people asking about Windows. I'm putting the link again, but it's coming very soon. And I know the feeling, like you get excited. You're like, oh my God, this will be so useful for my workflow, but I'm on Windows. But yes.
Yeah, and what kind of Andrew talks about, again, is that, we're doing something brand new for Adobe. We're going to be, XD is going to be the first UWP app on the Windows 10 platform from Adobe. And that's really exciting, but it definitely takes some time. We're definitely trying to figure out the right way to do it, the right way to have both a great and integrate touch really into the experience. And so there's a lot of considerations that come with that. And again, to making sure that it's as performant as the Mac, has the same level of features, and that everything's up to snuff. We really want to make sure that we do kind of our due diligence there and make sure that everything is just singing in that app before we release it. But we're getting close, we promise.
Okay, thank you, Talin. And,
yeah, thanks, Michael.
Thanks for watching. Make sure to stay in touch with the Adobe XD team. The uservoice.com website is really the best way to engage with us. You can also follow Talin on Twitter. So this is Mr. Talin, so Mr. Talin, I guess.
Yes.
Yes,
always looking for your feedback. So if you can, download, test it out, send me your feedback. Always excited and interested to hear. So.
Thank you, Talin.
Great. Thanks, Michael.
See you soon. I will be next week in San Francisco. So we can
great.
Catch up.
All right. Can't wait to see you.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Bye, everyone. Thanks.
Bye.